How's it going? And welcome to the first episode of the 1 and O podcast, where I, Dom Skeen, will host guests in the Mariners and baseball world to discuss the M's, Major League Baseball, other baseball topics, and Seattle sports. For the first episode, I have a very special guest with me. He's the only rapper I know with a focus on Mariners and baseball related themes. Combining two of my biggest passions, it's an honor to welcome onto the show voice of the Teal Sleeve Boys, Don Dishes.
Yes, sir.
Don, welcome to the show.
Appreciate you, Dominic. Appreciate you. It's good to be here.
Absolutely. So, can ask you quite a few questions today, but first, we had some breaking news this morning that Rizzs will be retiring as the play-by-play voice of the Seattle Mariners after 41 years at the end of the 2026 season. It's very bittersweet to see such a beloved, longtime member of the community retiring, one of the last vestiges of the 2001 and 1995 teams still around. Based on this breaking news, I thought it'd be fun to honor him by making the first question. Don, how did you feel hearing this news? And is there a specific Rizzs memory that came to mind that you'd like to share, or anything you'll remember most about him?
Yeah, man. Yeah, first of all, yeah, it was tough to hear, that he's going to step away. But we've all kind of known that it was, slowly approaching a little quicker than, we want, right? So, unfortunately, that did happen. But bittersweet type of deal, He gets to, go do his thing, max out on life, take a little of the stress off him, I'm sure he's not stressed at the park, but dealing with what he's dealing with. I know, just go be with your people, be with your loved ones. So, no, he's amazing. I want him to be there forever. I don't want the voice to ever leave. And more than the voice, the energy. I got to meet him when I went to batting practice one time. I was coming out of the tunnel with everybody, and he just so happened to be walking through there, with some other people. And you're not supposed to like talk to players or people like that, but I had to be like, Riz, just he dapped me up real quick handshake. He just loved it, he didn't care at all. So yeah, man, good dude, good vibes, great voice, and it's tough to hear, but yeah, let's send him out, with a bang.
Yeah, I mean, all I've been thinking about this morning is, what's that last play? What is that last call of Riz is going to look like? And we know what we
Man,
want it to look like.
right. But yeah, it'll just be a roll of the dice. But yeah, everyone will be cherished as they already were. I think everybody showed him mad love. He's been a highlight of Seattle baseball. So
Absolutely. And I mean, I can't even think off the top of my head of anybody who's been with the Mariners for 41 years. I'm sure there's some support staff and stuff surrounding the team,
right.
but it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I know I couldn't. Yeah, that's a stat bomb right there. That's a long
Exactly.
time. It's a long time.
And so we're going to talk mostly Mariners today, but after Sunday night, I have to ask you, how about them Seahawks? And I saw you posted about how excited that made you surrounding our city, just
Yeah,
uniting around
man.
the sports culture. And the passion that we share surrounding Seattle sports is what we've bonded over in the past as well. So, what are some of your favorite moments from Seattle sports culture? That kind of where the city just felt like it was coming together.
Yeah, man, it had to be, back with the LLB, when we were really booming. That was crazy, I was huge. I'm not a huge fan, like huge crazy, like there's fanatics, like the Seahawk band and all that. But I've always loved the Hawks. Cam Chancellor fan, you know what I'm saying? If I have to recall like a moment, I did get to go to a game a while back. My buddy's parents, they'll try to throw me some tickets for my birthday, which is a blessing. So I get to be there and just the energy inside that spot is not a joke. Like it's they don't exaggerate. Some people are like, oh, they're pumping sound in there. No, not. There's no fabrication. Like it's loud as a mug. And I just remember, I think we were playing like the Cardinals or something. It was like a December game. That's when my birthday is, and just getting so excited where I just, I'm a big dog, so I just got excited. We're packed in there. I must have bumped old girl next to me and her mom, and they were just laughing about it. It was just like, man, like you can't help but feel like you're connected with the electricity in there.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, crazy.
And I mean, we really want that moment for our Mariners. We had quite a moment. When
Oh
Gino hit
yeah,
that home run at home. In the playoffs this year, decibel levels that on that earthquake level, kind of like the Marshawn Lynch beastquake, had kind of the uh, during that 15
Beast
inning
Wave was
game with
crazy.
Jorge Polanco's walk off single, had some
Yeah.
absolutely kind of bedlam moments. Um,
Mm.
but you and I are the ones who kind of enjoy we enjoy this passion surrounding the
Right,
team just as much as
right.
we enjoy the team on the field. And I mean, I'm a nerd. I like to break down the players from the most advanced analytics, and you like to represent them through music. And then
That's a fact. That's a fact.
kind of transitioning that, uh, starting, I got to ask you about my favorite song of yours. So, why were you inspired to name the Teal Sleeve song as you did? I know it's a song about the Mariners and stuff,
Yeah.
but what inspired that Teal Sleeves name?
Right. So shout out to Stitch God because he's the founding father of like coining that phrase. And I just remember talking to him about, man, we got to do like something audibly about this because I was already into the sweaters he does for the unis, and he was just like, man, just do it, just go for it. He was like, just run with it, bro. Just represent the TLC boys, and just put on for the squad. And I literally got off the phone with him and just cooked up. So it's like had to do it, and just influenced by the squad. I've loved the Mariners my whole life. King Griffey Jr. is the best center fielder ever for me. What I'm saying? Coming up is my boy Julio, of course, but just I feel like it's in my pulse. What I'm saying? Really in my pulse. Always trying to be at the field. I remember when I couldn't be at the field, so now that I can, I'm just I'm always there. So I had to cook up for the team. So yeah, shout out Stitch God. He's the founding father of the phrase. I'm just the voice of the message.
Yeah, massive shout out to Stitch God. I've been following
Yeah.
your work for years at this point as well. And I see you've got the Teal Sleeve Boys jersey behind you from
Mm,
Stitch God himself.
no
Um,
doubt, no doubt, no doubt. The
anytime
101 pieces he does, yeah. I mean, it's rare. They're rare forms.
anytime you see one of those scramble jerseys at the stadium, you know that Stitch God made it, and
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that person knows what's up. So, shout out to
For sure. And
him.
if you see something that's like close to it, you know that it's just close and it's not it. I've seen some things that are like, that's a cool idea, or like, yeah, that's that. I see what you're doing. But whenever you see that scramble joint, you're like, man, that thing is nice.
Just in terms of connecting to the culture, it doesn't get a whole lot better than that. And as we
For
can see
sure.
that X kind of behind you on the jersey, right? That's
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of the
no doubt.
signature thing. So you'll know that if it has that X on it, that it's official Stitch God
Yeah, for sure.
scramble.
Somewhere on it, it'll get that X for sure.
Okay,
So
sweet.
yeah, no doubt.
And then but yeah, glad we got to talk about Stitch God a little bit. I know this is kind of just
Yeah,
came off the top of my head as,
yeah.
but I remember he would always post about Donnie Walton. Kind of was one of the guys in that beginning, kind of the inception of the Teal Sleeve Boys. J.P. Crawford as well.
No
So
doubt.
shout out to both of them, for their roles in it as well. Um, as well, you've been rapping about the Mariners for a while. I know. I and likely many others first heard your music that way, got put onto you because you're the only Mariners focused rapper that there is. And I still remember the first time I heard you was the Home Run Julio song back in his rookie season, 2022.
Yeah.
Was that your first foray into rapping about baseball and or the Mariners?
I would say so. I would definitely say so because it's not like my focal point. You know what I'm saying? Because I just make music for myself and just for my soul and my vibe. But yeah, after we scooped him up because I didn't follow Julio. I won't lie when he was in lower ball when he was in at the Aqua Sox and stuff. But once he did come up and I heard got wind and I was I was opening day and I seen him ball out, I was like, there's no way we're not gonna represent this kid to the maximum. So he just left a lasting impression on me. So I was like, man, this kid's impressive. He's center fielder. Right in my lane for ball. So I was like, bro, I gotta cook up something for him. And it was just the energy. Just had to do it.
Definitely. And what inspired you to rap about the Mariners? Was it Julio himself, or was that kind of, yeah? How did that?
I, I would say through that instance, it just kind of like it kind of just snowballed because I'd never done it before. Like let me theme something and shoot for that theme because usually I'm just music is about life and things like that, which take natural themes. But I was like, let me go cook an anthem or a theme for for my guy. And I did it, and I was like, man, like it's kind of hitting. And I started sending it around, and people were like, yeah, bro, this thing is kind of going. So I was like, yeah, let me just try and make more. And I've shot many shots at this, so through it came a few, and I have a few that will come out for this season too. But it just through that one instance, I was like, let me try it again, and it just happened to click and be a vibe that I like.
Absolutely. And just out of curiosity, when did you kind of start rapping? How did that come to fruition?
Yeah, I would say, man, it was a long time ago. I really started like singing. Me and my siblings would be singing, when we went to visit on the East Coast with my aunt, my grandma. But rapping, I would say, had to be like junior high, into high school. So, man, long time ago. But 2007 was the first time I did a show outside of like talent shows and things like that. I did the Pista in Seattle. It's a Filipino festival. Me and my boy Tris performed at the Pista on stage. Felt like we were really doing our thing. You know what I'm saying? So I
Yeah,
would say that's when it was like, yo, like we shouldn't ever stop doing this.
that's awesome. So, I kind of like to ask you about your creative process. I know it's different for different artists, but to
Yeah.
give the people a glimpse into like somebody who's had, I mean, what has it got to be, 5 to 10 years of experience at least now?
At least, yeah, at least. Yeah, man. I think the process varies for sure for each individual artist. But for me, it's just a different feeling for a different way I wake up. You wake up, you're having a bad day. You might move a different way, right? Or a good day, you move differently. But if I'm doing a freestyle, I'll just throw a beat on, maybe put a YouTube video on, or put like Martin Lawrence in the background, let it play on mute, and just let my mind run, and then just word vomit things onto a beat, and then I'll capture that with the mic, you know what I'm saying? And then I'll play it back for myself. And if I really like it, it's like clay. I'll just mold it. I'll take the parts. I'll build my Frankenstein. That's how each song will kind of go. And if it's something themed like Home Run Julio, then I'm kind of just making like a word tree on paper. Like, okay, Julio. Why am I rapping about Julio? Boom. 4 to 8 bars. And kind of constructing it with a little bit of a system like that. But usually the freestyle turns into a bunch of words, and the freestyle turns into a mechanical piece that I like curate.
Interesting. And
Yeah.
did you have any like formal music experience training or? Um,
Nah, just cleaning days on Saturday with the family, and just like, playing music, and my mom playing stuff, with my grandparents. That's about it.
wow,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Well, it's
Yeah.
cool to get kind of a glimpse into how all of the hits that Mariners fans across Seattle and nationwide and across the globe are listening to.
Hey, appreciate
Um,
that, my boy. Appreciate that.
Definitely, with Mariners Instagram community and everything becoming a thing. I mean, there's definitely not a more used song than Teal Sleeves and Home Run Julio. Those are definitely the
Word.
two biggest. Um,
Hey.
and I mean, hey, Mariners, look at what the people are listening to. You gotta have the
Hey.
pulse on the people, man. You gotta get Don
Word.
Dishes in the studio. Gotta get the hype, video that they play before the games. Gotta get Don
Let's get
Dishes
it.
over
Let's
that
get it.
someday.
Let's get it. It's for the people, It's definitely for the community. Going through, the stadium, and just being around other people who play it. It's vibes. It's vibes. And I'm not, it's all love. Let's
Oh
all
yeah,
love anybody who's making music for the squad. Let's really raise the roof on that, and how many people we're getting in there. And I think they do a good job of rotating songs inside that they play. I definitely hear other things. But yeah, let's lock in. Let's lock in. Let's make some things known. Let's make some things known that when we pull up, that's playing, and that's a vibe that we're doing. That'd be nice.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
getting back to the Mariners, we love to get excited about the Mariners. We've been looking forward to the 2026 season. As you'll see when you're watching this podcast on YouTube, down in the right hand corner of all my thumbnails and videos, I have a counter of how many days till opening day. And right now it's 58 days till opening
Hey.
night. So, what, Don, are you excited about, or why are you excited for the 2026 Seattle Mariners season?
Yeah, man. I say I'm excited to run it back. I'm just so excited to run it back. Bring that same energy that we just had. Bring the same type of charisma and community that we had. Everybody pull up for the squad like early. You know what I'm saying? You already know what it is, so don't wait till halfway. Be there when what I'm saying, when we don't even think the game matters. It matters. I just think we're just hungry. So I'm so ready to see the guys get out there and just perform. I know they're ready to do it. I know they're ready to cash in because being so close, you've been tasting that taste, for more than a minute now. You know what I'm saying? So you just the hunger, bro. I'm so excited to see their hunger and just to represent. I love showing up. I love hollering at the boys. I love hollering at all the coaches. Shout out to Novak and everybody who just shows love to the community because it really is about everyone in there. We're all the same. We're all human, and we're watching some humans do some superhuman activities. So just showing respect.
Man, I relish that kind of human element of the game, and
Yeah.
that's something that I named this podcast the 1-0 podcast because the three core values of this channel I always say are go 1-0 every play or 1-0
Mm,
every pitch,
mm.
and stay stoic. Don't get too high or too
Right.
low.
Right. Right.
Stay in the game, and then all glory to God. Believe in something bigger
Of
than yourself.
course.
It's not just
Of
about
course.
you. But even when you have something bigger to fall back on. And you see the believe sign, right? The seize the moment
Oh
sign.
yeah. Yep. No
It's
doubt. No doubt.
it's all it's really just when this team is built on a mountain of belief. They go much much farther. So I'm excited to see what kind of is there a new slogan? Are they gonna keep going with one of these old
Right.
slogans? One of my favorites. I'm wearing the CS Rise shirt right now. I
Oh yeah, that was a classic. Yep.
love the CS
Yeah.
Rise slogan.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. We'll see what they cook. They like to. They've been kind of under wraps right now with that. They haven't really been, hardcore hashtagging yet or nothing. I'm a hawk, bro. I be watching too. So, I've cooked up a few of my own. You already know. So I'm really excited to see what comes through and what the marketing team does because we really got a good thing going. We got a good org, at the heart, and we're trying to do some good things and run it right back. So if we all just lock in and know it's all we're all we got on it, you know what I'm saying? We come together like that, it'll culminate. It will culminate because we're like, we're just a twitch away from it making it happen.
absolutely. And now you've mentioned that you had some new stuff ready for this season that you're thinking about
Yeah,
creating. You mentioned
yeah.
that you've got some slogans of your own. Are we going to get
Right.
can I know you're probably not going to spoil a surprise. I'm sure you got something
Right.
planned for March or February with spring training, but
Mm.
can you give us any sort of preview as to what you're cooking up for the 2026 season?
Yeah, definitely. More crowd engagement stuff. Got that coming. Definitely a few little chant joints that I have for different players, and a whole new track. You know what I'm saying? A whole new track that I think we'll really love because you got to refresh it. And it just kind of clicked and came together. So I'm excited to show it. Once we do that, we're gonna strike it when it's supposed to. So we'll hold on for now. But yeah, more vibes to show what's up. I've been cooking some clips, so I'm doing some clipping. So I'll have some highlight type stuff going down, and I'll be dropping that throughout games and things like that. So yeah, I'm really trying to get people engaged.
There we go. Well, let me ask you. I haven't even asked him this off camera, but how many likes, how many shares? What would you want from the people on this channel to premiere that joint on the Dom Skeen channel sometime in the
Oh man,
future, or give us a preview, something like that?
shoot, the likes. We want to go for likes.
Give the people a goal.
Yeah, let's give them a go. Let's do like 100 likes. 100
100
likes.
likes. You heard it
Yeah,
here first.
I'm throwing it
100
out there.
likes, and we can get some insight into Don Dish's new 2026 Seattle Mariners anthem.
No
I
doubt.
know.
No doubt about it.
I'm thrilled for that.
Mm.
And even transitioning, into another thing is that, um, I've seen you doing work on another excellent podcast, which I've been familiar with for a while, the Black Baseball Mixtape. Um,
Yeah.
Before
Yeah.
I even ask you about, kind of the story with them, I got to ask you, because that ballpark bop that you put out with them,
Yeah.
that's
Heck yeah.
extremely tough. You
Yes,
know,
sir. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
um, how did that kind of come to fruition with, I know, Jimmy Rollins collabing? That's pretty huge.
Right? It is. It's crazy, right? So, I mean, shout out Cheats and Flobo and April, everybody over there at Black Baseball Mistake. I just saw Cheats doing his thing, and I reached out to him a while ago. You know what I'm saying? When I first seen him, I was like, man, this is beautiful. It's amazing what you're doing. Like, really reporting on black baseball and just being so consistent because he was just always doing it. And I know I'm one of the most inconsistent people on the planet, so I was like, man, respect, props. Like, you don't stop, and I love seeing the content. And then he just blessed me with an opportunity to pull up and join the pod and talk about the Mariners, because he saw how my passion is for them. So, it was a blessing just to be a part of communications with groups of people. So that's why I got involved, over there. And, really it's just love and baseball over there. And I always bring my little 2 cents and drop it off on them, So, yeah, shout out to Black Baseball in the state, man. It's a beautiful thing.
And so, how did you get the idea to make this ballpark bop?
Oh yeah, I'm slipping on that. I got too excited. So the bop, it just really came together from seeing those clippings and Sheets being like, bro, like this really could be like a thing. Like like this could be like a cook up and like a it really could be like the new take me out to the ball game. So um cooked up to the clip, like Jimmy Rollins and Ryan, they didn't make it hard. Like they're already doing the classic beat on the table, you know what I'm saying, and doing the take me out to the ball game. And I just sampled it instantly and was like, man, like let me just ride with this, with the essence of this. And then I sent it to Cheats, and he was like, man, you were doing this. So, and he put those clips to it, like that, those clip editings. That's him, and he really put all those different clips of people balling out just right to the track. And I mean, it just came together, man. There wasn't really a lot of like thought or preparation. I won't lie to you. We didn't scheme on that for years. It was kind of like, hey, what do you think of this? Yo, that's good. Let's do it. So it
It's
was
so
beautiful.
tough. And
Yeah, man.
I mean, as soon as I heard it, I'm just bopping along. And then, I mean, the
Right.
video, with all these different stars. And I
Yeah.
mean, that's a big thing, too, having the youth invested in baseball, especially,
Mm-hmm.
black youth. I mean,
No
I'm
doubt.
obviously not the person to comment on that necessarily, but
Oh,
it's
you're
like,
good. Yeah. No, you're
like
good.
the
That's
MLB has
safe.
always had their RBI program, rebuilding baseball in inner
Mm-hmm.
cities.
Right.
I
Right.
mean, there's an increasing trend. Maybe the 2000s, 2010s. I learned about this in school and whatnot, but also just seeing, how things go from a grassroots level of, a lot of kids, are going towards
Mm-hmm.
basketball, football, and stuff. And I mean, now, you saw NBA got really popular. People thought that
Right.
baseball was getting, replaced because of, I mean, in
Sure.
a big sense, this grassroots stuff. And I mean, the MLB has doubled back now in the last maybe 5 years, where I mean, the regular season MLB is a movie every single summer. NBA regular season. I mean, I like the NBA. I used to watch regular season NBA. I have not watched barely a quarter of regular season NBA this season because so
Right.
their regular season, I mean, it is almost nothing. Their playoffs are not as exciting. You don't have like a LeBron, a Kobe, and stuff. I mean, but during the summer, all people want to talk about is Shohei Ohtani, Cal Raleigh, Aaron Judge. So I
For
mean,
sure. But to double back on the hoops, it is true that the regular season is kind of sketchy. But those playoffs and those finals, that's when they do come alive. I do have to say that. But you're right. That regular season is a little drowsy. And fortunately, I think baseball figured out how to kind of turn that energy up with certain type of creations. I know over in New York, not to get off topic, but they had a editor who would edit their clips like movies, man. It was immaculate. His segue would go from like motion picture scenes to the pitcher from the mound throwing. Like, and I'm sad that I'm slipping on his name. I should have jotted him down. But yeah, the Mariners are figuring that out too. They do crafty things and commercials or marketing that keeps you engaged, throughout the season. So it's nice.
I mean, we kind of got to go explore this tangent now because it's so interesting, I have to say. And we got. I mean, the
Yeah.
most viewed video on my channel that I ever put out was like a breaking news about Root Sports ending in
Mm.
2025.
Oh yeah,
It,
yeah.
it, the most views on my channel by
Mm.
a substantial margin. So people clearly want to know what's going on with the media surrounding baseball. And
Right, right.
I mean, I remember when I was in middle school, in the early to mid 2010s, it was like, oh, you see all this football content on Instagram, you see all this basketball content. There's nothing for the MLB. It's because there
Right.
was the MLB Advanced Media. They had their like super closed off media ecosystem. Nobody could post clips on social media. Nobody could, you do anything about the MLB on YouTube because
Wow.
they closed everything off. And credit to them, they completely kind of swung the other direction. And they said, well, we got to open this up for people to make content. We're
For
just
sure.
lagging behind the NBA, things like that. And I mean, once they did that, people saw that, baseball is not dying. There was just a kind of this media bubble. And, as soon as that
Wow.
ecosystem opened up to everything else, it flooded, with people like, I mean, you and myself. So,
Oh, that's a fact. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if that bubble existed. So yeah, that's news. I guess I got in at the right time too because that would have been so discouraging to see things in real time and want to create off of your essence of that, or going to a game right outside, you want to do photos, or put music to a clip that you saw, and then it's just like flagged, or you can't complete that task. That'd be tough. So yeah, you got to open that up, man. It's a new day and it's free. It's like free publicity to you and yours. So I'm not understanding. We have to run it up. We got to run it up.
and I mean, that's where they made the wrong calculated decision where they said,
Mm,
oh, if we just, hoard all of this stuff, basically, we think it'll make us more money. And I
mm,
mean, that's definitely short term, really short sighted.
right.
Um,
Yeah.
Whereas long term, it's like, I mean, even in the short term now, all that matters, people's attention spans are so quick,
Mm,
things just blow up. And I mean, I don't use, I don't use any, MLB clips on my channel. I kind of try to keep it at the minimum because I don't know all the rules surrounding it. And I,
right.
just want
Right.
to, have, I mean, I have plenty controversial opinions on who should be starting, how the
Right.
Mariners, how, is Emerson Hancock deserving of a spot in the rotation at this point,
Mm,
things like that. So,
right.
um, I mean, I don't want to, I don't even care to, deal with, anything that could infringe on, their rules. Um,
Mm.
I just like to comment on everything I see.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure. I hear you. I'm a little bit more bold, right? So I make the comments and I say the things, but I try to always be respectful. I try not to dog people too much. And if I do, we're a community, so I would hope that someone would say something or someone would reach out, right? Because it really is that easy. And I'm emotional, so I can get off the rocker too, and maybe spiral a little bit. But as long as we remember that we're all in the common goal, then we can keep things real tame. So I mean, but I appreciate your reservation because that's very respectful. I push the limit just because I'm a weirdo, so I do it.
I mean, but what I see, art is meant to create discussions, in society and to
Mm, for sure,
spark
for
debate,
sure.
and I think that's what you do with,
Mm,
I mean, the way you communicate. I have always kind of admired, the way that you start discussions. You don't end them. So every
mm,
time I see you, pushing for something, it's always a conversation starter, and I think
word,
that's
word,
where myself and a lot of others gravitate towards not just your work and stuff, but the messages behind it. Um,
word. I
and so I
appreciate that.
really appreciate that.
Word.
Getting back, I do want to ask you also. We know you now, as the main Mariners rapper, but I want to take it back to when you got into Mariners baseball. I know you kind of mentioned that you grew up, in Chicago at one
Mm,
point.
yeah.
So how did you get into Mariners baseball? What's your kind of first memory of Mariners baseball, and what's the story of you becoming a Mariners fan?
Yeah, so I was born in Harvey, Illinois. So if that hurts anybody's feelings, I'm sorry. I was born over there. I lived there till I was about 3 or 4, and then things got way too crazy. Economy over there horrible, house getting broken into. So my grandpa was already in Seattle. We moved to Kent, Washington. And long story short, living with him in Kent, he was just exposing me to like the Sonics, and I was still wanting Jordan gear, obviously, because it was the '90s and stuff. And he was like showing me the Mariners, and I didn't really watch the White Sox, but we had like Frank Thomas and stuff. So I was trying to root over there. But once every day I was seeing these Mariners play and watching on TV and trying to play myself and found Griffey wanting to mold my game. It was just a easy transition. and to coming into it because I got here so young. So I was just able to kind of just pick. That's kind of how I transitioned to being a Mariner fan. And then, man, I had my first game. I always wanted to go, bro, when I was little, but most of the time when I could go, it was Sundays, and I had to go to church. So, and unfortunately, not unfortunately, my grandpa was preaching, so unfortunately, I was there, and we weren't going anywhere. we
Yep.
were going, we were going nowhere, bro. So, missed out on a lot of games until finally, it was a buddy of mine's birthday, and he invited me, and his dad like picked me up, from the church and took me to into the city, and man, I think that was a Safeco Field game. So that was a while ago. I think it would probably be like 2001 or something like that. It was like my first time being in Safeco. I did go to one. I'm racking my brain. Let me go back further. I think my grandfather took us to one Kingdom game. But back then I was watching on TV. I was a fanatic, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I
Wow.
saw Mo Vaughn. Saw the Avalanche.
Ooh.
Because I remember he hit a crazy home run. He thought I was gonna hit the top, bro. I was like, we lost, but I was like, man, that's crazy. But yeah, move on. So I did see a Kingdom game. But
Wow.
really, that 2000 era, getting to go to a friend's baseball game, getting to sit like third base line, trying to get a ball, didn't get one. Then from there, I vowed to always get baseballs, bro. I think that's
Yeah.
why. I think that's why I'm blessed. I'm blessed with a skill. I just always gotta get a ball. I'm a dog. But yeah, I just love this team because of how hard they fight. Griffey was obviously like my first introduction to loving it because he played it relentlessly. He played the position I always wanted to play. Even as a little chubby dude, I could always track the ball. So I was like, I don't care. If you jump the wall, I'm jumping the wall type of thing. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it was just some passion, bro. Just a bleeding passion. I could rap forever.
And what was your playing baseball career like? Just little league?
Yeah, little league into like what was it? They called it majors because you can
Oh
get
yeah.
up a little higher. Right before you go into like high school ball, you can play this thing called majors where they have like a little draft and stuff. It's crazy, right? So you thought you were balling, so I thought I had some skill. And I played with some other cats who were ballers. Shout out my boy Luke Goodgen. He went and played for the for the Rays.
Wow.
And then he played overseas, bro. He played in Japan. It's my dog, bro. Shout out my boy. I haven't thought about that in years, but yeah, just playing little league and trying to go upper A. Didn't do it, but wanting to, and then still staying around the game. Not discouraged by that because like loving to play it was just as much as my love to be a fan of it and just to see it. You know what I'm saying, and be involved and cheer. Like I'm the guy in the crowd that's like, I'm amped up. I'm loud. I'm not heckling, but I'm just reinforcing that we're all here. I'm community. Like I'm down for my team. I don't leave early. So yeah.
Wow. I mean, I definitely had that kind of, period where I stopped playing baseball pretty early.
Mm.
In and I'm in elementary school. So I tried out for my high school team after not playing all these different years, and
Okay. Yeah.
I didn't make it, so I was upset about that. But I knew at some point I accepted that my future was in the sports communication world, and maybe not the
Yeah.
on the field.
No
I mean,
doubt. No doubt.
I always dreamed of being Ichiro and
Hell yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. Ichiro is my brother's favorite player. Not to cut you off, but yeah.
oh yeah, no, it's like I mean that's kind of you know I had that same kind of experience where I mean I even had a few years where I lost a lot of love for the game having like a certain uh, little league coach that was just a super hard hard nose,
Ah
just like
man.
way too
I feel
hard, and
you.
like I mean I just
Yeah.
didn't really get it, and
That's no. There's nothing to get about that. There's certain stages where you can't be too hard. So
and
yeah, that's tough.
it's even a good kind of reminder, for Mariners fans. One of my biggest things on my channel and with my philosophy around baseball is, we're gonna get to March and April, and through
Right.
April, there's going to be somebody in the Mariners lineup who isn't, having the stats that you expected them to have preseason. It does not mean you should give up on them, right?
Right, right. 100%.
You know,
100%.
correlation does not equal causation. And
Hey,
I
I
mean,
like that.
that's, I look at all the underlying numbers, I get nerdy about it. So I know, like, to an extent, I mean, even if a guy isn't, showing it in batting average, his expected batting average might be really high. He might be really unlucky. Baseball is a game of large sample sizes, and short sample sizes, which is what the playoffs even are just basically a crapshoot at the end of the day. So
For sure, for sure. You gotta hang in there.
so
Like you said, the sample size thing sticks with me. It's over time, and people are emotional. So they're hot and cold, and when you're there in the game, of course you like certain people go into games with expectations, and they expect a certain guy to do this certain thing and be this certain way every time, and I'm sure that guy is striving super hard to do everything you're saying. But yes, we're all regular, and the wind will blow left instead of right, and things will go that way. And then the next day he'll be on, and you weren't there, and you're mad because you weren't there. But that's okay.
and
It's okay.
you've always been, a proponent of like believe in the players, trust the
Right.
process, which I
Got
think
to.
we always need more of in Seattle sports. I mean,
Yeah,
um,
man. We need that. We need it badly. We have to admit it. A lot of bandwagon issues and situations across the board, but it is part of the game. But let's be real. When we start, we can't be so hard on guys like you said who aren't doing it right away or right when you want it, or man, he's a bum. Like there's certain things that we shouldn't do. Like that's etiquette that I don't allow. Like when I see certain people attacking players, our guys or away guys, and it's like aggressive. It's like, bro, there's never a moment where it's that serious. I promise you, they don't care, and we don't care, and you're doing nothing but harming the game. So just let it ride, let it ride, and when you just let it ride and you trust, usually you get what you're thinking. So
absolutely. I mean, I have no problem, right? You're going to see over the next couple weeks, Seattleites, right? There's going to be people who didn't watch almost any Seahawks games this year that are now big
oh,
Seahawks fans in the Super Bowl,
it's a
right? And I have no problem. Hey, you don't have to be a huge football fan. Like, it is what it is, right?
right, right,
But,
right,
if you can appreciate the culture of Seattle, whatever, appreciate the sport just in the big, in the Super Bowl, whatever, right? But what I don't like, right, is when people come into the, season, they didn't watch, any of the games, and then, oh, Sam Darnold had one bad game for the Seahawks, so he must just not be good in the big moments. And it's
yes, that's what's tough right there.
like, because
It's
everybody has a
tough.
tough day at work.
Right, right. Come on, and you weren't here to see all of those days in succession to understand that that was just one of those days, because you pulled up now. So yeah, it's tough. It's tough to see that, but like you said, it happens, and we just kind of observe and take note.
Exactly. I mean, and the truth is, right? Some people, some of the same people who are saying, oh, Logan Gilbert doesn't know how to pitch when he gives up a couple runs in the playoffs, right? Obviously, just not a take we even want to. I even want to
Right.
acknowledge most of the time, but it's
Yeah,
like,
for sure, for sure.
it's like those same people, right, would sometimes be like, man, I'm having a stressful day at work, right? Pressure's on me.
Right.
I need a mental health day, things like that. And
Yeah.
the sad truth is, right, these guys, Logan Gilbert is fighting not only for, that Dylan Cease level of contract in the next couple years, life changing generational money, but also, fighting for, his dream, and he's fighting for the rest of Seattle as well. He's got all this pressure on him.
Right.
He knows how to pitch, obviously. He's,
Of course.
actually incredibly intelligent about it. I mean, things just happen, right? And that's why I also get into the scouting reports of things like that. I do also want to ask you
Yeah.
a couple more questions I had for you is like, as anyone who's watched all my other content knows, I love to get as deep into the nerdy stats as I can. When you
Yeah,
look
man.
at baseball, there's a lot of different ways to look at it. And I want to ask you, how is your perception of the game? How much stock do you put into the eye test compared to like, stats and even, beyond that, like underlying analytics and stuff? When you are watching a game, what are you kind of thinking about it in terms of making evaluations on what you're seeing?
Yeah, yeah. So for me, baseball is a lot like about it's all about watching it and seeing it for my eyes. Like that's how my grandpa raised me on the game. I when I'd play it and he'd come watch me, or I'd be outside out front trying to do something. If I was inside and he was watching the game, he'd say, "Hey, come here, sit down and watch this." And he would tell me something about what I was doing and how I could see it in the game. So I'm really big about watching the player and just watching how they perform and understanding the energy and looking back to get to go forward. Like check out some previous years, check out some previous games, see their energy, and see what they're doing in that regard because that will tell you a lot. And then the numbers might look terrible, but if you see this person over time doing the work, beating the pavement, you know, hustling every play, then there's something about it that just hasn't either clicked yet or look at who they're playing. There's so many different things, that go into encompass the game. So for me, I'm a player's player. So yeah, it's about a vibe. It's about how you're working, your ethic, and your energy. Yes, the numbers should reflect for sure, and they will. They truly will. But sometimes, yeah, you can see that the numbers fluctuate or look away. And if you dive into who that is, you can sometimes figure out like what's going on. And referencing Logan Gilbert, it's like, yeah, how can you do that? How can you say this guy can't pitch? That's wild. He's at the highest level. We're trying to break through something that hasn't been done for 24 plus years. Like it's such a huge moment. Like you pull up, your first pitch would have been a rocket ship. Like, like when people were begging for Bizarro's job, like get out of here, that's my dog. He's been a dog. He's a dog. How dare you? So it's like, come on, you have to look back to go forward. And yeah, one thing going wrong or a blemish, it doesn't define the player. It never should. And once that does, it usually can really damage somebody because it's a mental thing. So yeah, I'm a player's player.
You said that so well, and this is a lot of what I try to explain to people. And I, take these, underlying metrics, the Statcast, analytics, to stats, downstream stats of, the basic stats, and but you just explained all of that perfectly. Where I mean, there might just be one thing off, right? There might,
Right.
it might just not have clicked yet. These are the ways that scouts to an extent look at sports. Is what we're not trying to look at what's already happened. Past performance uh, does not predict future performance at all.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
no, I mean, you just said that so well. So I really
Boy,
appreciate
thank
that.
you.
And
Appreciate it. Thank you.
yeah, also kind of got two more questions for you. First of all, who are
Yeah.
some of your favorite Mariners all time, and then currently? And
Got
kind
you.
of
All time. King Griffey Jr. Of course. Alvin Davis. Of course. First baseman. Who else? Man, there's so many
is there
more.
anyone who's like not kind of obscure? I mean, I appreciate, by the way, you mentioned
Yeah. Yeah.
Bizarro. That's
Oh yeah. Yeah.
love
Yeah. He's a
Bizarro.
dog, man. He's a dog. Who else? That's like a Joey Cora. Remember
Oh
Joey
yeah,
Cora?
oh yeah.
I always like Joey Cora. I know maybe some people don't remember him, but Joey.
If you don't look him up,
Yeah, if you don't just look him up. He's got stats for days. Boy, it was so quick. Who else, man? The Bone, of course, Jay Buhner. Um, yeah,
anybody,
man, I just keep listening.
yeah, like an obscure, like obscure guys who like,
Not really. I just got guys that people know. I don't really have an obscure joint. I pull Sam Haggerty. That's my dog.
ooh,
But
great pull.
yeah, man, I wish he was still on our squad. But yeah, no one too obscure or like somebody that fell off because I was pretty much on the pulse. Edgar, you know what I'm saying? I'm just a regular cat.
But
But I'm sure I'm missing guys who were fantastic.
you
Fantastic
always
ball
are
players.
posting about not just the top guys on the team is what I appreciate too. Obviously we
Right.
celebrate home run Julio. I mean Ichiro is
Mhm.
my favorite, not only athlete but role model of all time. And
Yeah.
but I know you're always posting about not just the top guys on the roster. I mean you're including I mean and you're making content to a degree about
Right.
1 through
Right.
25 on the roster, 1 through 26.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
try to, brother. I try.
mentioning Justin Novak on the podcast, that's an excellent pull.
Yeah, man, that's my boy. Like it's just because those are that's how our team is really. Like I haven't really talked to anybody on the squad who I didn't resonate with and like want to like communicate with every time I saw them at the park or on social media or something. Like they just understand that it's love and it's community. You know what I'm saying? And that I'm just another person operating out here in the world that loves the game. And if they weren't wearing that uniform, they'd probably be right where I am, doing the same thing. I remember going to a game and seeing Saucy Sasuero right there in the outfield. Like he was just watching the game because he wasn't playing that day. So it's just like, man, they're just like us. So yeah, it's love. It's love. Shout out Justin. That's my guy, man. That's my guy.
You just gave me a really fun ideas. If you could have, if you had to, have one Mariner on a song, and I mean, not just based on how big they are, right, and how viral it
Yeah,
would
yeah,
go and stuff, but who do you think would
yeah.
be, a good rapper? Who do you think would go well with your style of music?
That's hilarious, man. That's good. That's good. I never thought about that. So I would want to get in the studio with the boys, though. That'd be fire. Man, who would have some bars? For some reason, I want to say Julio and have some bars, and he come with the bilingual sauce. I mean, like we just be vibing in there. Definitely. Let me get a Ryan Bliss. I bet he can get on there with
Ooh.
some sauce, and then JP with some singing vibes. I feel like he could do some. But I bet he'd probably say no, but
Almost
just
like
like some yeah,
reggae,
just
like
like
got.
exactly, just some harmonious. Like if I had to think of what those cats would do in the lab, which is obviously I know nothing, but yeah, yeah, that's where I would go with it. Yeah, I think that's who would have something, and maybe like a Cal Riley on guitar. Put him on an
Ooh.
instrument, put him on an instrument somewhere.
Hey, we need Cal Raleigh guitar beat. Julio, bring some Spanish,
Yeah, let's go. Some
some of that on
sauce.
there. We need
Yeah.
some Ryan Bliss. I mean, if you're 5'8", right, 5'9", you play in the MLB, you gotta have some swagger. You gotta have some dog in
Oh,
you.
he's got mad swagger. That's for sure.
Yeah,
That
like you
boy's
you can't
swag out.
be. I
Yeah.
mean, shout out to Victor Robles too, another guy who got that dog in him. That
Oh
swag.
yeah, Victor. Yeah, no, he loves music. Yeah, it'd be fun to just see different people's tastes of music and vibe in the lab. That'd be fun. That'd be
I mean,
fun.
you get a little taste with the walk-up songs. Obviously, JP, always doing
Yeah,
like
you
the
get an intro.
vibey,
Yeah, right.
stuff. Shoot,
Mm-hmm.
I might need to have you on during the season just to review like after
Hey.
opening day just the walk-up songs, just to rank your
Yeah, let's
favorite
do it.
walk-up songs or something like that.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it, man. I'd love to. Love to.
Absolutely. And I got one more question for you
Yeah.
before we head out. Where do you think you fit into the ecosystem of Mariners content right now? And where would you like to be by the end of the season? What are kind of some, where do you kind of see yourself? And what are kind of some goals that you have? Not just in terms of obviously everybody wants to get more followers and, get more, more popping and stuff. But like, what
Right,
are
right.
some of your personal goals, within the Mariners ecosystem?
Yeah, man, that's a wonderful question. I really would like to connect with them in a way where I could fuse the ideas I have with the creative professionals that they have going in place because I'm just an idea guy. So I just have a lot of ideas and I break them off real rough on Instagram and I'm at the house doing my thing in the lab and I have a lot of rough skills. That's true. I don't claim to be professional in any way, but I just see these things. I just want to attack them. So it'd be really cool to lock in with some of the professionals and just send some ideas and send them up the line and see if we can land some things that would engage the crowd and would become staples for all time and just change the way it goes. Connect the community with those people, you know what I'm saying? And with that pulse of the game. Because it's real. We're all on our phone. We're all watching something on a screen. And what better way than to see that and see a team and go to the game and see the highlights with the music and with that vibe and that tone. So yeah, that'd be nice.
Absolutely. I mean, if I had to use one word to, describe the vibe I get from your content, it's authentic, and real.
Mm, word.
And so that's, I just think, I mean, I can picture it more and more, kind of since the beginning of, they finally let a Seattle artist on the intro video to the stadium. I think, I
Yeah.
forget, I think it was Easy McCoy with the sound, and
Yep, it was
shout
the
out to
sound.
him.
Yep, the sound.
But,
Big respect, big respect.
big
Yeah.
respect, right?
Mm.
Taking, that's a big undertaking for, somebody in this city and stuff. But man, I can just picture, you fit that kind of, fit that vibe so well, So I'm excited to see what they come out with this year, But
Yeah, man.
in the future, you heard it here, that Don Dishes someday could very well and should very well be on that intro that you see, 6:40 game time, 6:36 p.m. They start playing, all the lights go and you start to hear, the beat drop and you start to see videos of, everybody hitting homers and then, the rapping comes on. Don Dishes is the guy for that, and I mean the fun thing is, right? He's not necessarily, just been chosen for it. He's been putting in the work, to get there at some point. So that's, I mean, I see you as
I
the
appreciate that.
the voice of the people. People call, I don't know, Lil Durk, talks about the voice of the whatever, right? For Chicago,
Yeah, yeah,
you're
yeah. He does.
you're the voice of the Mariners. So, I
Yeah,
mean,
man. It's crazy. I'm looking for something right now. So I gotta give more props to Sis guy, bro. This he coined me as the voice of the movement. I was looking for the tag.
the voice of
It's
the
on one of the
movement.
yeah, it's one of the jerseys he made for me. And I appreciate what you just said, bro. I just want to chime into it. It really is a blessing to be gifted and do things. And I'm just saying, like you said, how do I want to be involved? If I can get in the room with the cats who are cooking up the thing that we're gonna put on that screen, hey, I'm blessed. Because I just know that my pen and my ideas are there. So if it can't be me in the physical sense, I'm cool. I don't need that. I just want to be involved and be a part of it because I understand it. I've studied it. I believe it. I love it. You know what I'm saying? And we gotta have everyone in there should be like that. And they probably are, but I'm trying to get in the room. So trying to get in the room.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for being the first guest on the podcast. Is there anything you'd like to plug? Anything you got coming up you want to tell the people about? Anything else?
Not really, man. I appreciate letting me come on through, and it was a good vibe. It was a good time. Just keep your eyes open for the content. I'll keep dropping it, of course, and yeah, let's just go into the season ready to get it and run it back.
Absolutely. Now, my subscribers, I expect from you guys, let's get this thing to 100 likes. I don't know if we're going to do it
Let's go.
today. We got to do it before
Right.
this season. We got to get
Yeah.
Don to come on here, preview that new music. And man,
Yeah.
let's go I like how you said, let's go attack 2026.
Yes, sir. Let's get it.
All right. Thank you for coming on, Don. This has been the Dom Skeen channel, your one-stop shop for the Mariners storylines on Seattle's Minds. We'll see you guys next time. Go M's.
Yes, sir.